So this is the recap of the previous class. Bama, the narrator, says that she experienced untouchability at a very young age. She was then a student studying in class 3. She recalls her school days. She used to walk home from school. On her way, she watched all the fun and games, enjoyed the performing monkey, saw the snake charmer, a cyclist who had not gone off the bike for 3 days, saw political parties persuading people with long speeches, saw coffee clubs and many more interesting things. And these things actually led her to stop on the way, and in this way she was delayed and reached home late. Students, kindly go through the word meanings given here. Gazing at all this, one day I came to my street, my bag slung over my shoulder. At the opposite corner, though a threshing floor had been set up, and a landlord watched the proceedings seated on a piece of sacking spread over a stone ledge. So one day what happened? Bama, after watching all this, she came to her street near her home. My bag slung over my shoulder. The bag was still there on her shoulder because she was returning home from school. So at the opposite corner, though, a threshing floor had been set up. Threshing floor, you understand? The floor where grains and all are kept, and the grains are separated, the edible part is separated from other crops, that is the threshing floor. And the landlord watched the proceedings. So it was the responsibility of the landlord to watch the activities going on, whether the people were working properly, doing their work. He was there watching all this, seated on a piece of sacking spread over a stone ledge. Ledge is a slab, or you can say a raised edge, and there was a sack was spread over there, and he was sitting there and watching the activities. Our people were hard at work driving cattle in pairs. So they were engaged in the threshing activity. So there were cattle, animals in pairs that were doing the work round and round. You must have, I don't know whether you have seen these activities. I'll try to show you in this video how this whole procedure is done. So they were driving the cattle in rounds to tread out the grain from the straw. So they were separating the edible part or the grains from the straw. So many people were engaged in this work, and the landlord was watching all this. The animals were muzzled so that they would not help themselves to the straw. So since the animals were engaged in this work, their mouths were covered with some kind of you can say cover made of bamboo or something like, so that they could not eat the grains. That is called a muzzle, a cover or an obstruction put on their mouths. Okay, the word muzzle is used as a verb here, so that they would not help themselves to the straw, that they could not eat the straw. I stood for a while there watching the fun. So this spectacle also stopped her from going home. She stopped there and looked at it. Okay? Just then, an elder of our street came along from the direction of the bazaar. So this was an incident or a spectacle which made the girl think about the incident later on also. So one day what happened, she saw an elderly man in the street coming along from the direction of the bazaar, moving from the bazaar. The manner in which he was walking along made me want to double up. So when she saw the man, she found it very funny. The way he was walking made me want to double up. Double up means laugh. Okay, give a loud laughter. I wanted to shriek with laughter. Shriek meaning to make a high-pitched sound, okay, shriek with laughter at the sight of such a big man carrying a small packet in that fashion. So he was a tall man, an elderly man, and he was carrying something in a packet. He had a packet in his hand, and the manner he was carrying, the way he was carrying, made the little girl laugh, and she found it a very funny sight. I guessed there was something like varai or green banana bhaji in the packet. So she thought that the man must be carrying some varai, some eatables, fried eatables, okay, and some bhaji or curry, green banana curry in the packet, because the wrapping paper was stained with oil. So the paper or the packet had stains of oil stains in it, okay, so that made her guess that maybe there are varais and some bhaji or curry inside the packet. He came along holding out the packet by its string. Now she tells us why she found that spectacle so funny, that sight so funny. The way he was carrying, the man was carrying it by hanging the packet with a string. The holding out the packet by its string, it had a string, without touching it. He was not directly in contact with the packet because he did not want to touch it. He was not touching it, but it had a string. It stood there. I stood there thinking to myself, if he holds it like that, won't the package come undone and the varais fall out? So when I looked at the man and the way he was carrying the packet, I began to think that if the packet falls down, then what will happen? Everything will fall on the ground and nobody would be able to eat. So those thoughts came to my mind. At the first sight, I found that man carrying the packet in such a fashion very funny, and then again when I looked at him carrying that packet, I felt that he might drop the packet and everything would fall on the ground. The elder went straight up to the landlord, bowed low and extended the packet towards him, cupping the hand that held the string with his other hand. The landlord opened the parcel and began to eat the varais. So what happened? That elderly man, what he did? He went to the landlord straight with the packet and he bowed down. He bowed down low and extended the packet towards him, cupping the hand that held the string with his other hand. So with both the hands he touched the string, not the person or not the packet, only the string he touched, and then he handed over the packet to the landlord. The landlord opened the parcel and began to eat the varais. So what the landlord did, he took the packet, opened it and started eating the varais. Clear? After I had watched all this, at last I went home. My elder brother was there. So after watching all this means the sight that she saw in the bazaar, that elderly man carrying a packet with a string and handing it over to the landlord, and then the landlord taking the packet, opening it and having the varais. That was something which the young little girl found very funny, very amusing, and she was also left to think, what was the matter? Why did the elderly person behave in this manner? So after she went home, she narrated the incident to her elder brother. My elder brother was there. I told him the story in all its comic details. So in every detail, she told it to him. What she saw on the way, how the man behaved, how he carried a packet with a string and handed it over to the landlord, and she said that she found it really very funny. I fell about with laughter at the memory of a big man and an elder at that, making such a game out of carrying the parcel. So what actually was amusing was that she was very delighted, not delighted actually, she found it very weird, she found it very funny, a big man, an elderly man also, okay, carrying a packet in that manner with a string attached to that packet and then bowing down low in front of that landlord, giving him the packet, and the landlord immediately taking out everything from the packet and eating. The whole thing was very funny for the little girl. But Annan was not amused. Annan was the name, was her brother. He did not find it funny. Annan told me the man wasn't being funny when he carried the package like that. So he said that I don't find it funny. When the whole tale was narrated by her to her brother, by Bama to her brother, he said that it's not at all funny. I don't find anything comic in it. There is a reason why he behaved in that manner. But Bama, being a little girl, she did not understand why the man behaved in that manner, because she was not familiar with the term untouchability till then. Annan told me the man wasn't being funny when he carried the package like that. He said everybody believed that they were upper caste and therefore must not touch us. So that was the main reason. This was prevalent in India at that time and still prevails in many parts of India. The concept of untouchability, how these people are treated, the Dalits especially, how they are not allowed to mix with the people of the upper caste. They are not allowed to visit them, go to the houses of the upper caste, touch them, and if it ever happens, then how these people of the upper caste try to cleanse themselves by going through different religious procedures. And this was the mentality of the people at that time. They were regarded as untouchables, meaning that no one could touch them just because they were doing some particular kind of work. Actually, their work or occupation reflected their caste, so they were regarded as untouchables. If they did, they would be polluted. So as I already told you, if the people of the upper caste came in contact with the lower caste or the Dalits or the untouchables, they would consider themselves to be polluted. That's why he had to carry the package by its string. So that is the reason why that elderly man, in spite of his old age, behaved in that manner. He was carrying a small packet and that packet was attached to a string and he was touching the string, not the packet, and in that manner he handed over the packet to the landlord, and that landlord, he belonged to the upper caste, and that is why he did not touch that elderly person. So the whole explanation of untouchability and way the man behaved was given by Bama's brother to her, and only then little Bama could understand why the man behaved in that manner. When I heard this, I didn't want to laugh anymore and I felt terribly sad. So after knowing the story, after knowing the reason why the old man, why the elderly person behaved in that manner, Bama did not find the incident very funny. Okay, rather she was sad to know how the Dalits were treated, how the untouchables were treated, and she was very angry okay, after knowing all that, and she did not want to laugh anymore. How could they believe that it was disgusting if one of us held that package in his hands, even though the varai had been wrapped first in a banana leaf and then parceled in paper? So she was wondering, why should the people treat us in this manner? Why should they find it disgusting? That means, why should they treat us as if we belong to a different caste? Just because we belong to a lower caste, we should not be touched, or they should not be touched by us. Why should they behave in this manner? And she says that the varais were first wrapped in a banana leaf, and then they were wrapped in a paper. So what was the harm if that elderly person touched with his hands? Are we so polluted? So she felt really very sad. I felt so provoked and angry that I wanted to touch those wretched varais myself straight away. So provoked, that means she was charged up with emotions, okay? And she was extremely angry that she wanted to break all norms of the society and touch those varais themselves. What's there in the varais, she thought. I'll touch them myself. I'll go there and touch them and pollute them, she thought. Why should we have to fetch and carry for these people? I wondered. So she thought, why should we work for these people who treat us as if we are not human beings? We too are human. So why should they treat us like this? Why should we be humiliated? I wondered. I thought, such an important elder of ours gets meekly to the shops. Meekly means very timidly, goes to the shops to fetch snacks and hands them over reverently. Reverently means with respect, bowing and shrinking to this fellow who just sits there and stuffs them into his mouth. So she says these are all discriminations. Why should an elderly person, an old man who belongs to our caste, stoop down so low as to go to the market, bring those varais himself, and then so respectfully goes to that landlord, bows down before him and hands over the varais, and then that person, that landlord, he eats them up hungrily. The thought of it infuriated me. Infuriated me means made me very angry. Means Bama was extremely angry when she learned the reality of the matter, when she knew that actually they were victims of caste discrimination. Okay, is that clear to you? How was it that these fellows thought so much of themselves because they had scraped 4 coins together? Did that mean they must lose all human feelings? So here Bama is very disgusted with what is happening to them. So how was it that these fellows refer to the landlords and people of the upper caste, they thought so much of themselves. That means they were proud of themselves. They had that arrogance that we belong to we are people of the upper caste. We can look down upon you. You means those people belonging to the lower caste. Because they had scraped 4 coins together. That means they have earned some money. They are wealthy. They are rich. Did they mean they must lose all human feelings? So she puts a question, just because you are rich, just because you belong to the upper caste, does it mean that you have the right to look down upon us? You have no human feelings, you have no love for us, you have no feelings of brotherhood for people belonging to different castes? But we too are human beings. So this particular line brings out the frustration of the little girl, how she feels that people belonging to their caste are not treated as equals, are not treated like other human beings. They are deprived of their rights and privileges. They are looked down upon people belonging to the higher caste. Our people referred to the people of the lower caste should never run these petty errands. Petty means small, Okay, errands mean jobs, small jobs for these fellows. These fellows refer to again the landlords and people belonging to the higher caste. We should work in their fields. Yes, we should work in their fields. We should do their work. Take home our wages. In return of that work, we will be paid some money. We should take those wages and leave it at that. And that is the end. Beyond that, we should not do anything. We need money, so we will work in their fields. We'll take our wages. What is due to us, we will take the money. We will go home, and besides that, we are not going to do anything for these people, these landlords. We will not stoop down. We will not let ourselves be humiliated by them. We should not stoop down so low that we start pitying ourselves. We are also human beings. We have every right to live a life that they are living. We should be treated like all other human beings are treated. Is it clear, students? My elder brother, who was studying at a university, had come home for the holidays. So Bama's brother, he is a university student, and he comes home for the holidays. He was at home at that time. He would often go to the library in our neighboring village in order to borrow books. So there was a library nearby, and as he was a university student, he would often go to the library and to read books and also bring books from there. He was on his way home one day, walking along the banks of the irrigation tank. So one day, as he was returning home from the library, what happened? One of the landlord's men came up behind him. He thought my Annan looked unfamiliar, and so he asked, "Who are you, Appa? What's your name?" So as Bama's brother was returning, a landlord met him. One of the men of the landlord's men met him, and he found Annan quite unfamiliar, and an unfamiliar face to him. So he did not recognize him. So he wanted to know actually who he was, where he lived, and reality was that he wanted to know to which caste he belonged. Okay, that is why he wanted to talk to him. He addressed him as Appa, meaning father, and asked him, "What's your name?" Annan told him his name. Immediately the other man asked, "Thambi, on which street do you live?" Thambi meaning brother. Okay, on which street do you live? The point of this was that if he knew on which street we lived, he would know our caste too. So you can see this caste discrimination. He was more worried about the caste of Annan. He wanted to know to which caste he belonged. That is why he asked him, "Where do you live? Which street do you live?" So in that village, actually, people were divided on the basis of caste, and also there were different locations or different places where people of different castes lived, and probably the Dalits lived in one particular locality. Probably they had their own streets where they lived, and they were not allowed to live in the same locality where the people of the upper caste or the landlords lived. So that is why he wanted to know the name of the street where he lived, so that he could easily find out whether he belonged to the upper caste or the lower caste. Okay, clear, students? Annan told me all these things. All these things mean the caste discrimination and how people treated them. And he added, because we are born into this community, we are never given any honor or dignity or respect. So Anand explains to his sister that just because we are born into this community of untouchables, nobody respects us, nobody treats us as equal, nobody gives us that dignity which we deserve. We are stripped of all that. We are denied even our rights and privileges. We are denied the basic amenities of life. But if we study and make progress, we can throw away these indignities. So he says, but the weapon to fight against all this caste discrimination and inequality is what? Education. We must educate ourselves. We must study very hard. We must make progress in every respect. That is the main weapon through which we can fight, with which we can fight. We can throw away these indignities. Indignities means shame, disgrace, dishonor, humiliation. So study with care. So he advises his sister that you study hard, you work hard, learn all you can. Okay, put in all your effort so that you come out with flying colors. If you are always ahead in your classes, people will come to you of their own accord and attach themselves to you. So if you are the topper in the class, if you work very hard, if you give importance to your studies and come out successful, then even your classmates will come to you. They will make friends with you. They will forget all caste distinctions. They will rise above all these prejudices and be your friend. Work hard and learn. The words that Anand spoke to me that day made a very deep impression on me. So these words of motivation spoken by her brother had a great and lasting impression on the little girl. She was greatly influenced by the words of her brother, and she began to study very hard. From that day onward, she made up her mind, yes, I will work hard. I will show everyone that I am the best. Then nobody can humiliate me. Nobody can treat me as a member of the lower caste. I will be treated as equal. The words that Anand spoke to me that day made a very deep impression on me, and I studied hard. Yes, she did study very hard. With all my breath and being. See, she put all her heart and soul into her studies in a frenzy almost. Frenzy means in great excitement. Okay, a wild kind of behavior. As Anand had urged, as he urged here means had influenced me, as he told me to be very determined in my goal, to work towards my goal and destination, I stood first in my class. And then she showed everyone that yes, she is like everyone else. She is in no way inferior to anyone. She was the first girl in the class. I stood first in my class. And because of that, many people became my friends. So everyone came to her and made friends with her because she showed that she is the best. It is only through education that we can wipe all these caste distinctions and inequalities, these superstitious beliefs, these evil practices from the society. Clear, students? Students, let us look at the questions now. What was that one episode that left an indelible imprint on Bama's mind? Indelible means a mark that cannot be erased. So what was that episode? One day while she was returning home from school, what did Bama see? She noticed that an elderly man was carrying a packet in his hand, and she was really amused to see that he was not touching the packet while there was a string attached to it. And he went straight to the landlord, who was seated on a stone ledge, and handed over the packet to him. And the landlord opened the packet and started eating the varais that were inside the packet. So she found this episode very funny. And then she went home and narrated the entire incident to her brother. And she said that she found it really funny, but the brother said that there's nothing to laugh at, or there is nothing so funny about the incident, because the man belongs to a lower caste. That is the reason why he did not touch the packet and held the string to the packet so that he would not touch it and handed it over to the landlord. So hearing this, Bama was very annoyed. She felt that they are the victims of injustice and their rights and privileges are denied to her. So this incident had an everlasting impression on Bama's mind. Then her brother explained to her that the best way to get rid of all these inequalities and injustices in the society is by studying hard, by working hard, by acquiring knowledge and becoming an educated person. So Bama took her brother's advice very seriously, studied very hard, and she became the topper of the class. And after that, many students came to her and became her friends. So this is the entire episode. So if this question carries only 2 marks, then you will write in brief. If it carries 7 marks, then you are going to write the entire incident, giving a proper introduction, then a conclusion. Okay. Next question. How did Bama come to have many friends? So as I already told you in the first question, the second is almost similar, but if it is for 2 marks, you are just going to write the last part of the answer that I already told you, that the brother's advice had an everlasting impression on mine, that he told her to study hard, and in this way she secured the first position in the class, and after that many came to her for help and she acquired many friends. Then what was the bitter truth of their life that Annan told Bama? So when she went to her brother and narrated the incident to him, she told the truth to her. That was the bitter reality, that it is a case of what? Untouchability, that they belong to lower caste, and that is why they are looked down upon by people of the upper caste, and that is why that elderly man who carried the packet in his hand was treated that way, and that is why he didn't touch the packet. So these are the points you are going to include in your answer. So if it is a question carrying 7 marks, you are going to give an introduction and a conclusion. And if it is for 2 marks, you are just going to write to the point. So third answer is clear to you? Yes. So you'll write the answers. Okay, students?